Welcome to A Life Lived Joyfully, brought to you by the Guadalupe Radio Network. Join us this hour as we explore the call to holiness and a life of virtue. Here's your host, Martha Fernandez Sardina.
It's good to be with you on this beautiful Thursday. Wait a minute, it's not Thursday. It's Monday. Why am I listening to the soothing voice of Sarah Soto? Well, that's because I'm your new Monday host, folks. I'm very excited to be here with you all. If you're listening to me for the first time, I am usually here with you on Thursdays at 4 p.m. on A Life Lived Joyfully. But from here on out, lucky you, I'll be with you every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. here on A Life Lived Joyfully. Again, my name is Sarah Soto. I'm a Catholic wife, mom, speaker, and evangelist. For more information or to contact me, just to familiarize yourself with who I am and what I do, you can visit my website at sarahsotospeaks.com. That's SARAHSOTO speaks.com. Well, folks, I figured since it's my first Monday with you all, maybe you're familiar, maybe you listen every Thursday and you're very accustomed with my style and how I do things. Maybe this is your very first time listening to old Sarah Soto. I thought I would come in, what's that phrase? Guns blazing. I teach RCIA. This is my only time doing it. It's sort of I kind of swooped in at the last minute at a local parish. I don't attend that parish, but they were in need of an RCIA instructor, so I've been very happily teaching RCIA. I absolutely love teaching and forming adults. It is a great, great passion of mine. My career started working with teens, and I would specifically about the theology of the body, right? The proper order of human sexuality and understanding why God made us man and woman, and et cetera, et cetera. But then I realized I could talk all day long to these wonderful teens, but if they went home to an environment where parents were discouraging the pursuit of holy relationships, then it was all kind of a moot point. And so then I got into the formation and education of adults when I was working in the Archdiocese of San Antonio, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And so it is with great, great, great joy that I accepted this opportunity to teach RCIA for these wonderful, I've just fallen in love with them. They're such a great class. These wonderful young people. They're mostly all very young. I got a very young guy coming in baptism, First Holy Communion, confirmation, 14 years old. It was sort of left up to him, and he decided he wanted to enter the church. So I'd make a reference to how he'll be a priest every other class or so, and it's all good fun. That being said, yesterday we started going through the 10 Commandments. Whew, man, I tell you what, I was going to get through the way it was divided up. I was supposed to go through the first 3 commandments. All we got was through the first one. We got sidetracked a little, as you'll realize when you listen to us, or to listen to me every Monday and Thursday here on A Life Lived Joyfully. I have a little touch of the ADHDs, and so we get a little sidetracked in class sometimes, and I wasn't able to finish everything that I was supposed to cover because I had a lot of questions. I welcome questions. I love when you all call in with questions or stories or comments, and we got really, really into it. And there is a part of the catechism we were covering that talked about the dangers of superstition, the dangers of putting faith in anything other than God and relying on the power of anything or anyone else who isn't the Lord, and as it's a violation, right, of the very first commandment. And so as I'm explaining different ways that we can break the first commandment, violate the first commandment, have other gods before the Lord, and faith in things we shouldn't. There is a beautiful, wonderful young lady in the class. I really, really love. I like all my students. They're really wonderful. As I'm listing some of the practices that are not Catholic, that are not good, that are not holy, and some of these practices should be avoided at all cost, and we should not be involved in them, encourage others to be involved in them, or even really make light of them. As I was sort of listing some of these superstitions and practices and beliefs, cultural sort of beliefs, this young woman was, and she had her hand over her mouth, and her eyes were as wide as dinner plates. She was looking at me like, I do this. My family does this. How could you be saying that this is not good? And it wasn't anger, right? It wasn't It certainly wasn't anger. How could this lady be telling me I can't do this? It was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. My family doesn't know. We would never, intentionally put our faith in something that wasn't God. But now you're making the, sort of connecting the dots for me. And here I am thinking, oh gosh, I've got to leave this class and go tell my family, hey, we can't do this anymore. This is bad news. And so that, like RCIA often does, inspired my very first Monday episode on A Life Lived Joyfully. Today I want to talk about some of the superstitions, practices, and cultural beliefs of Mexican American Catholics. Obviously, it's very prevalent in Mexico, but as a Mexican American Catholic, as someone whose family is in 75% Mexican American, and my husband is from a border town. I was born and raised 2 hours away from the border. A lot of these cultural beliefs and practices have been, unfortunately, kind of normalized, I should say, unfortunately normalized in our lives, in our environments. And that's what I sort of want to, well, not sort of. I want to come in guns blazing about it today, so that if it comes up in conversation, if someone asks you about it, or if they find out that you're Catholic, or if you're on a journey to becoming Catholic, or you're just listening and you always wondered what Catholics or Mexican Americans, can I just say Mexicans? Is that allowed? Mexican, what we're talking about when we say certain things. I'm here to offer some clarity. I'm a big advocate for not defining too many evil things, not talking in such like great gory detail about evil things, because there can be like unhealthy curiosity for things that have an evil nature. And I'm a big advocate for that. So let's focus on good. Let's focus on the glory of God. But sometimes you have to bring evil things into the light so that people are crystal clear on what they should not be doing, what they should be avoiding, and what they should be instructing their children to avoid. And when it comes to these ugly superstitions that Mexican Americans can practice or do sometimes practice, I've got to denounce those. I feel an obligation as a Mexican American Catholic woman to denounce these practices, which can be, and this is why I feel the need to denounce them. This is why I feel so strongly about sharing this with you all today, listening, is because they are often done under the guise of good intention. Sometimes they're even labeled as white magic. I've heard that a lot, which we'll get into here in a minute. And just sort of cultural things, right? Like, oh, I'm Catholic. It's just a Catholic thing. It's a Catholic thing. This thing is connected to the Day of the Dead, and that's a beautiful thing. And it is. Sure, it's a great, it's an awesome celebration. I'm not dogging the celebration of the Day of the Dead. I love it. But it can get pretty ugly pretty quick. And the reason why it's so important to be aware of these different superstitions is so that you know to avoid them, but also that you know, without a doubt in your mind, with full clarity, that when you put your faith in something that is not God, in someone who is not God, right? And you're expecting a supernatural result, healing, cures, the onset of good luck, whatever that means, good fortune, money, any sort of answer to any sort of petition or prayer, if you're asking for anything supernatural to happen, right? A miracle, and you're not asking in the name of Jesus, you're a smart cookie. I know you know the answer to this. By whose power do you think that it will be granted, if it is granted, and you're not asking the Lord? I'll give you a second to think about it. Yeah, that's right, the evil one. And we don't want to ask the evil one for help, because the minute that you do, even if your intention is lighthearted, Even if you think white magic, or whatever that means, even if you think white magic or these sort of, it's just a cultural thing. Oh, I'm just Mexican. That's why I have to touch all these babies, or whatever it is you want to say. However you want to chalk it up. The truth is, and the reality is, if you think that there is some power that you can channel or that will be channeled through through any of these superstitious practices we're going to talk about today, it doesn't take a genius to recognize that if you're not asking God and something supernatural happens, it is from the evil one. And the second, and I mean, we don't even have to crack the door for him. And this show is not about him. He's ugly enough. We don't have to get into it for a bunch of, all of our precious time together today. You don't even have to crack the door, is my point. The second you touch your hand to the door handle and unlock it, he's in. He's in your life, in the life of your spouse, in the life of your children. He's in your home. And this is not a let's be paranoid and stressed out and like that lady from Edward Scissorhands who's like constantly praying in front of those candles all day and have no life and not watch I don't know, whatever. Like, sue me. I watched Frasier the other day. Okay. I'm not saying that live in a bubble and never ever like speak to anyone or look at anyone and just stay in church all day. Like, listen, if you're cloistered, you should definitely be doing that. I'm not trying to get up and go, but if you are a normal, everyday person, I'm not saying you have to fear the world and everything is out to get you and everything is Satan. That's not my point. That's not what I'm saying. But my point is that if you recognize that supernatural things happen by God or the other side, then you shouldn't be asking anyone else other than God. You shouldn't be putting your faith in anyone else other than the Lord. When you ask for a miracle, when you have a prayer, when you have a petition. So let's start at the top. I used to attend Mass at noon every day with my baby, but he naps at that time now, so we don't go to that parish anymore. We go to a different, actually, funny enough, we go to the radio Mass that's aired on the Guadalupe Radio Network every morning at 7:30, he and I, and so I'll apologize if you ever hear a baby shouting. It's John Paul. But I will say this, he's super cute, so please excuse him. When we went to that noon Mass, it was in, what do the kids say? The barrio? Is that the right term? It was in a predominantly Hispanic, actually the church itself is nestled right in some row homes, right? Like government housing all around it. There's a convent there at this parish, and they regularly see ambulances because of shooting victims. And it's not like LA, right? It's not like, but it's not the safest area. And so my son and I would go to Mass. And I think I want to say he's probably 8 months right at this point. So we're going to Mass there, and it's me and my baby and a bunch of single or like widowed elderly Hispanic women. That's it. There's maybe like a man or two in sight aside from the priest, but it's predominantly about 15 to 20 elderly Hispanic women, me and my baby. So obviously every single day they're pretty excited to see a baby, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, he's a little loud today, or he was talking today. Oh, we love it, mija. We love hearing the sound of babies. They need to be in church. It's very, very sweet. Very, very kind, welcoming. I used to help out at that church. I've given several talks there, so I'm fairly familiar with a lot of these women. And you wouldn't believe the faith of these women, right? They are daily communicants. They've always been daily communicants ever since. They're not like me. They don't go through like phases of like, I go to Mass all the time. And they faithfully pray the rosary. They're just very kind and very holy and very prayerful, and they just have so much faith, right? But recently, before we stopped going there because of my son's nap change, one of them said, oh, I've just got to touch your baby. I've got to touch him. He's so cute. I've been looking at him for the whole Mass, and I don't want him to get sick. Hold the phone, lady. What did you just say to me? She said, I don't want him to get sick. I said, look, you can touch my baby because I like you and you're nice and he's cute. But if you really think that touching my baby is going to prevent him from getting sick, then you can't touch my baby. Hijo Jesús, you should have seen the look on this lady's face. She looked like she looked like I was holding a crucifix covered in exercise, salt, and holy water in front of her face when I said that. Let me tell you, as soon as we get back from the short break, we're going to dive very deeply into the ugly superstitions that Mexican American Catholics sometimes practice. We're going to denounce them. We're going to explain a few of them. And we're going to talk about so much more here on A Life Lived Joyfully. I'm your new Monday host, Sarah Soto. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Trent Horn from Catholic Answers. Has someone ever told you, we need abortion because the world is overpopulated? Resist the temptation to argue that the world is not overpopulated. You have enough to discuss just with abortion. Instead, I like to ask this hypothetical. Suppose not enough women choose abortion, and there are still too many people in the world. Would it be okay to force women to be sterilized or force them to have abortions? Most people would say no. But if it's wrong to force someone to have an abortion, even to deal with alleged overpopulation, isn't it also wrong to force someone, a child, to be aborted for the same reason? Now we're discussing the right question. Are the unborn human beings who deserve to be treated as humanely as the rest of us? This has been Trent Horn with a Catholic Answers Pro-Life Minute. For my free booklet that will make you better at defending human life, visit whyweareprolife.com.
So the neighbor who we've spoken to, just in greeting, but who I don't believe has ever spoken back to us, out of the blue, surprised us. One day we were getting the kids in the car for Mass and asked us if we were going to Mass. I was dumbstruck for about probably 10 seconds. It was great that we had an opportunity to share about our parish and that we were Catholic. Turned out she was Catholic too, and she assumed we were because of the bumper sticker on our car.
The Guadalupe Radio Network. Radio for your soul. Welcome back to A Life Lived Joyfully on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Give us a call. The lines are open at 877-757-9424. That's 877-757-9424.
Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm your new Monday host, Sarah Soto. I'm with you every Monday and Thursday here on A Life Lived Joyfully. And today we were talking about, we are denouncing, we're condemning those Mexican American superstitions and practices and beliefs that are not holy. In other words, they are unholy. They put faith in things that are not God, that are not of the Lord, and therefore open the door for the evil one. And once he has some ground, he does not easily like to give it up. So don't give him any. Don't give him any ground. Frequent the sacraments and don't put your faith in things that are not of God. And it's so unfortunate that so many people from my beautiful and rich and amazing and predominantly Catholic culture have fallen victim to putting their faith in things that are insidious. We don't want to do that here on the Guadalupe Radio Network. So before the break, I was talking about how I had to, can I say this? I had to get a little ghetto with an older woman at Mass who was trying to touch my son because she didn't want to give him. Are you ready for this? You're probably familiar with what I'm about to say. She thought because she was staring at him, because he's so cute, which trust me, he is, because he's so cute that if she didn't go up and touch him, right, like touch on the hair, on the cheek or whatever, she didn't go up and touch him, that he was going to fall sick with, you guessed it, ojo, with the ojo. For those of you who are not familiar, that means, ojo means eye in Spanish, but what she's referring to, and what so many Mexicans are putting their faith in, is they believe that they can give someone a touch of the evil eye. Okay, so I've asked a few people, interviewed a few people that are living on the border, a few people that are from the other side of the border, and a few people that have spent their whole life here, Mexican Americans living here in America their entire life. And the collective sort of definition or understanding is that Some people believe that they have some sort of extra powerful vision, right? Some sort of like powerful way that they are looking. And when they are admiring a baby too much, because babies aren't spiritually mature enough to ward off this powerful gaze of admiration. This is serious. I'm very serious talking about it. I'm not joking. I wish I was. That the person with the powerful gaze can give the baby a headache, make the baby feel bad, make the baby sick. Okay, that's pretty powerful. A look. I mean, I've probably looked at my husband in a way that gave him a headache, but I don't think it was because it was because of my powerful vision. I think it's because I can be pretty obnoxious at sometimes, but that's not the point. The point is that this woman, I guess, had been told or led to believe that she has some sort of, I don't know, superhero vision. Is it like Superman? I don't know what the idea is, but the idea is that she had some sort of, and I want to say they perceive it as some sort of a gift, right? Some sort of supernatural thing that they can tap into. But the understanding was that she was staring at the baby, and that if she only went up to him and touched him, he would be spared of any pain or suffering. That again, she was going to cause him because she was staring at him in admiration. Yeah, saying it out loud, it's like, that's ridiculous, but it's a very, very, very deeply held belief and practice among Mexican Americans. I know for sure I was touched. I don't know. I mean, I'm not on video right now, but I was very cute. I was a very cute baby. Definitely remember people coming and touching. I went to a predominantly, right, Mexican American parish, and I'm very, what they would say, güerita. And so I had light hair, and they'd be like, "Ay, mija, your hair's so beautiful. It has blonde. Let me touch it. I don't want you to get sick." And I'm like, touch my hair. Okay, abuela. But the truth is that if you are putting your faith in things that are not of God, particularly if you think you have some supernatural power to make babies sick, first of all, go talk to a priest. Don't go touching any babies. Okay. Something is out of order here. But the belief that you could cause illness to someone and that you could also cure it, right? So go on a technicality with me. Okay. Take a technical journey with me. Let's say you do have some supernatural power. And when you look at babies, because they're cute, you do make them sick. And then all of a sudden you touch them and they're cured of this sickness, or they are prevented from having it. I'm going to ask you to do the simple math again on this. If the baby was sick or made sick by some power, and you weren't asking God for a power, and plus God doesn't give people powers to make babies sick. That doesn't even make any sense. Whose power did it happen by? Let's put two and two together here, folks. If there's some mysterious supernatural stuff going on, especially when it has the word evil in it, it's called the evil eye. It doesn't take a theologian or any kind of genius to figure out that that's not a thing, and we should, as Catholics, not be participating in anything of that nature. We should not have faith in anything of that nature. We should not be believing in anything like that. Now, here's the kicker, folks. Let's say you don't know that someone was staring at your baby, and the person that was staring at your baby doesn't come over and touch them. Or they have some sort of a curse put on them. We'll get into that in a second too, right? Some people believe that, curses are very real, right? But because someone believes that someone was staring at their baby because they're cute, and then they come down with some sort of illness, they can hold on to the hope that if they crack an egg, put it in a bowl, and put it under the bed where the baby sleeps, this illness can be cured by the fact and proven that it's cured and that the curse has been removed, because the next day old mom will find that the egg has been cooked. That's right. You heard me. Cooked, folks. The egg has been cooked. So again, this is not a show about math, but let's do a little bit of math one more time. Okay. If you perceive that some evil has been done to your child, if you perceive that something bad has been done, some sort of a curse, and you're not running to the Lord, right? You're not asking the Holy Family, right, to form a wall of protection around your family and your children. You're not invoking Saint Michael the Archangel to protect you and your family. You're not asking Saint Joseph, the terror of demons, to intercede, right, for the healing of your family who's been, cursed or whatever it is. You're putting your faith that a cooked egg will show you that there has been healing. Here's the problem. If you're in a room temperature home, even if it's a little warmer than usual, right? If you're in a room temperature home and you crack an egg under your child's bed and the next day you get there and that thing is fully cooked, burn your house down, run away, don't ever go back. Seriously. I mean, I'll be honest with you, someone very, very close to me, I'm asking these questions before as I'm prepping for the show, and I'm saying, you did something like this. Did the egg cook? You bet your bottom dollar it did. I'm thinking, whoo, doggy, we need to get some holy water up in this family. If an egg cooked in my house sitting in a bowl, you better believe I'm calling the priest. I'm not rejoicing that my child has been cured because an egg cooked. Y'all, I'm calling the police. And I'm sprinkling this whole house in exorcised and blessed holy water. Ain't no egg cooking in my house. And when we have faith that those things, that those practices, that those beliefs can do something supernatural, again, for the 20th time, folks, if it's not of God, if we're not asking God for healing, for redemption, we are asking another supernatural power, and that supernatural power isn't your tia Elena, okay? It's not the lady down the street, which brings me to okay, before I get into this next superstition and practice that is very important for us to cover, I do want to remind you that our wonderful producer is taking phone calls. So if you have some experience with this stuff, or if there's something that I'm not going through as we move through this that you want to share with other people and warn other people about, or if you have some story that you used to believe this stuff and now you don't, and the Lord showed you that it was evil, please call and be a testament to other people who are thinking, is it so bad that an egg cooked under my bed? Is it so bad? 877-757-9424. Again, we're talking about Mexican-American superstitions and practices that are not from God. They are evil pathways that demonic activity can enter into your family life, into your home. 877-757-9424. Again, that's 877-757-9424. Do you have any warnings for other people? Are you picking up anything that I'm putting down here, folks? This is bad stuff. We have got to encourage our families, even if it's our grandma. I know we don't feel comfortable telling grandma what to do, but we have to let them know, and not in an ugly way. Nobody's heart is changed because you're screaming at them like I'm yelling right now at you on the radio. But let's be honest. Let's take a long, hard look at these traditions, unfortunately they're traditions, about these superstitions and practices. Now, the second one that I want to talk about is, it's pretty vile. If you live in a part of our nation, our great nation, where there is a large Hispanic population, there is more than likely at least one, if not several, places of business, business, that people who claim to remove curses from you, from your family, they operate out of these quote unquote businesses, right? I mean, anybody can open up a business, but they're curanderas, right? Or like healers. They call themselves healers, right? I've heard a white magic healer. I've heard a Native American healing woman. I've heard all kinds of different things. We are taking calls, by the way. So if you have a story about any of this stuff, give us a call at 877-757-9424. Again, that's 877-757-9424. We are warning against the hiring, the consulting, or the interaction with of curanderas. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it. Don't Google it. Just trust me. These healing folks, right? These people that claim that they can contact the dead, that they can heal you of different curses, are like the biggest red flag in the universe. We're going to take a short break and I'll talk all about them right after this. 877-757-9424. Give us a call if you've got some insight about what we're talking about today. We'll be right back.
Arm yourself for the daily spiritual battle. Visit St. Michael's Armory for beautiful sacramentals, recast antique metals and religious jewelry, and our exclusive sterling silver and wool brown scapulars. Take up these means to strengthen your soul and arm yourself well for the battle of life. stmichaelsarmory.com. That's stmichaelsarmory.com. Spiritual armor for the battle of life.
As we strive to overcome our regular sins this Lent, our Lord's last words on the cross each offer a remedy for one of the 7 deadly sins. The 7th words from the cross are, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. Justice counters covetousness. The sin of covetousness includes both the intention one has in acquiring goods of this world and the manner in which they are acquired. Covetousness is more common today than we probably suspect. Jesus gave up everything in reparation for our covetousness. He had no wealth left. His mother he left to John and the church, his body to the tomb, his blood to the earth, and even his garments to his executioners. His death reveals that we are meant to be dissatisfied here below and can only be satisfied in the hands of our Father. This is Matt Maloney from knowthefaith.net.
Listen to The Spirit World with Debbie Georgianni and Adam Bly.
Demonic activity appears to be on the rise. I'm Debbie Georgianni, and I invite you to join Adam Bly and me this weekend for The Spirit World.
On The Spirit World, we offer a Catholic perspective on angels, demons, and how the spiritual and physical worlds interact.
Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Guadalupe Radio Network and other EWTN radio affiliates. Visit grnonline.com/spiritworld. Welcome back to A Life Lived Joyfully on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Give us a call. The lines are open at 877-757-9424. That's 877-757-9424.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we are digging in on my first Monday show here on A Life Lived Joyfully. I'm usually here with you on Thursday afternoons at 4 p.m., but from now on, I'll be with you every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Again, my name is Sarah Soto. I'm a Catholic wife, mom, speaker, and evangelist. And for more information or to contact me, you can visit my website at sarahsotospeaks.com. Well, today, folks, we are digging into it. We are warning against many practices and superstitions that are prevalent in the Mexican American communities, particularly in the part of the world that I'm in, so close to the Mexican American border here in Texas, and we're condemning them. We're condemning them because they need to be condemned, and we need to warn people. I was saying at the beginning of the show that I was inspired by one of my RCIA students. I'm teaching RCIA on Sundays, and she was just blown away. She was like, "What do you mean I can't crack an egg if my baby has a cough and put it under their bed?" And so there's some needed clarification. And so before the break, we were talking about visiting a curandera, but we'll get all into that after we take a call from Marta from Houston. Can you hear me, Marta?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
Thanks for calling.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. What can we help you with?
You know, you have the name of my daughter, Sarah.
Oh, good. I love it.
Okay. I don't speak English very well, but I'm trying. That's the reason why I listen you to learn English.
Oh, okay.
So, talking about, I am from the center of Mexico, where I grew up on a Catholic, very traditional Catholic families, and there is next superstition or when I in my family. I didn't see my grandmother or mother use that kind of superstitions. But when I grew up, and also here in Houston, where I live in, I know that a lot of people that use that kind of superstition, that use the ojo and the broken eggs, and use the like red
the red string.
Yes. And also I have some relatives from the Mexico City that use a lot of superstition like that. And I surprised because there's Our Lady of Guadalupe is there. And they put away the Our Lady, and she's our intercessora. So that's so sad to know that kind of superstition. But I am glad to born in a Catholic church, traditional, because they don't exist. I am from the land of the Cristeros, so that's when I know the some of my grand uncles. How to say
ancestors?
The brothers of my grandparents.
Oh, yes, your great uncles,
That died for believe on Catholic.
Oh, wow.
And they said that it's for the revolution, Mexican Revolution. But it's not. It's for the government.
Right.
Hide
yes.
The real history of the Cristeros. So
yes.
That's, I don't know. That's so sad to know that they educate with fake heroes like a Pancho Villa. And
that's very that's very common here. I mean, I see it all the time. Even the history of the Catholic Church in the United States is not correct. But Marta, I have to say, you come from a good family. Not everyone comes from a good family. It sounds like you have holy people in your family. It sounds like your mother and your grandmother love the Lord, love our Virgen de Guadalupe, and that you have strong faith in your family. And that's so good, and it's such a good blessing for you and for your children, for your family. But the reality is so many people don't come from a faithful family, and it's very easy for them to fall for the tricks of some of these some of these superstitions. Thank you so much for calling. God bless you, Marta, and thank you for sharing. Your English is very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And so there is really something to be said when you come from a good family. I have had cultural exposure to these things, but I come from a good family. I don't mean to say my family is better than other families. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm very blessed that my family has been protected, and they're not protected out of luck, folks. They're protected out of close relationship to the sacraments. But we'll get to that here at the end of the show. We have another Sarah, that's not her real name. Actually, that's my name. But we have Sarah calling in from Houston that has an experience. Sarah, this is Sarah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Hi there. You had something to share with us?
I certainly do. I've been dying to share my story about this with the right person, and
Sure.
I got you today.
Okay.
I was a fallen away Catholic, and I would like to say I am mostly Anglo, although I've been born and raised in the southern Texas my whole life. Okay. And anyway, long story short, I got sucked into the world of Santeria, and I was in there pretty deep for several years, and I was told that I should even be made a priestess to what they call it, a goddess, Oshun, but we know it's a demon. And I was also being recruited I didn't go through with the what they call crowning the head. I didn't go through with that ceremony. Thank goodness I got out. But I was also being recruited to join a sect of Palo Mayombe.
Okay.
And in the house of which I was a member, which is in Houston, there's a lot of them in Houston. I'd like listeners to know. There were also people who practiced Vodun. So it's very, very syncretized with Catholicism, which is weird, but I understand the origins. And we studied it, and we had Sunday go-to meetings at our home, at our house. We call it an elay, or they called it an elay, the house. Pretty much every Sunday, all day, and ceremonies and stuff, and you know all about that. But it's I also found that mixed into it were elements of hoodoo. And what I'd like to comment on, besides how dangerous and how really purely evil it is that they're not just targeting people with Latino backgrounds. They're actively recruiting Anglos, African Americans, and actually that whole religion comes from the Yoruba people in West Africa. And so many African Americans are caught up in this a lot.
Wow.
In the Elay I was in, it was like 75% black.
Wow, my goodness.
And some of the black people are mixed. Some of them are Caribbean, but a lot of them are just good old American people, and they're very professional. Some are doctors, lawyers.
Goodness gracious.
Realtors, just very professional people, in addition to other kinds of, careers and lifestyles and educational demographics. But it is everywhere, and I want you to know that when they hold the Bembes in Houston, you get people from all over the United States. There's a heavy, heavy Santeria practice and presence in, of course, New York and Washington, D.C. area, but it's really rampant out in the Beverly Hills, Los Angeles area, where they are recruiting a lot of people, white people with money. That's who they're really going after, and people are falling for it. And like I said, I'm not a person with a lot of money, but I'm mostly Anglo with just a little bit of Hispanic and American Indian background. But they're targeting everybody right and left, and children too. We had many children who were even crowned heads. It's rampant, and oh my goodness, I could feel the demons like on my body and stuff. It was horrible.
Can I ask? Are you open to sharing what inspired you to start leaving?
To leave, everything in my life started going wrong. There was sickness. There were financial troubles. There was a return to a state of mental depression that I had overcome before, and I succumbed back into that. There were nightmares.
Wow.
All kinds of people out to do me wrong through smearing my reputation and rumors and threats. Yeah. There were threats when I left or when I attempted to leave, and I had to actually say, if you bother me, I'm going to call the police and get them involved.
Yeah.
Once you get in, they get their hooks in you, and they don't want to let you go. Because for one thing, for them, it's a money-making scam on top of just, a devilish cult.
Right. Well, a little bit is never enough, right? They always want more. They always want to demand more. Yeah. And we're going to jump into a short break, so I've got to let you go. But God bless you for being willing to share the dangers and how they're recruiting even children. Now I know what to pray for. Thank you so much for calling. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you.
Man, it is so much more insidious than I'm capable of conveying to you all. And so I'm very grateful for your sharing and for your calling in and telling me about your experiences, because I'm just one person, right? I can't warn against everything there is to be warned about. I mean, there's a lot that we need to be aware of. And I don't want it to, burden you so heavily that you're losing sight on the goal here, right? What's that goal again? It's communion with the most holy Trinity for all eternity. So there is a lot of joy to be had. There's a lot of glorifying God in the little things that we do. But first and foremost, the most powerful way that you can protect your family is obviously it's obvious. You've got to know what these doors are, right? Where evil can enter in. You've got to know where the temptation is. You've got to know, you have to be guarded. But the most powerful way by far is by staying close to the sacraments and by remaining, as much as it's possible, remaining in a state of grace. Folks, I cannot emphasize this enough. The more often you receive Holy Communion, And the more often you go and make true contrite confessions, the more difficult it is for any evil to infiltrate into your life. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, it's impossible. It's impossible to convey how powerful the sacraments are against, the evil one is nothing compared to the power of Almighty God. So I've got a few more things to share with you here today. But call in if you have any comments, especially about the topics that we're talking about today, which are difficult. Some of the practices going on that are evil. 877-757-9424. Again, that's 877-757-9424. We'll be back after a short break.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're currently cruising at 39,000 feet. We'll turn that seatbelt sign off for you and let you move about the cabin. Looks like we'll have you at the gate in plenty of time for you to get to confession before Mass this evening.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone regularly went to confession? Why not start today? A friendly suggestion from Guadalupe Radio Network.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders from EWTN's Call to Communion. I believe that the ministry of Catholic radio is one of the greatest tools we have in the Church for evangelism today. I hear from people all over the world on a daily basis who have encountered Christ in the Catholic Church for the first time by listening to Catholic radio. Please support the ministry of Catholic radio today. Support Guadalupe Radio Network.
Thank you for listening to the Guadalupe Radio Network and being part of the family. Families pray for each other. We would be honored if you would let us pray with you and for you. You don't even have to tell us your name. Just go to our website, grnonline.com, or call our prayer request line and leave us a message at 800-395-4008. That's 800-395-4008. We will be praying for you every day.
Welcome back to A Life Lived Joyfully on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Give us a call. The lines are open at 877-757-9424. That's 877-757-9424.
Hey, welcome back. Today it's my first Monday with you all, but I've been with you every Thursday here on the Guadalupe Radio Network on A Life Lived Joyfully. My name is Sarah Soto, and I'll be with you now on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm a Catholic wife, mom, speaker, and evangelist. Now, if you've been listening to me on Thursdays, you've heard that whole thing before. But if you're usually a Monday listener, which we hope you listen every day at 4 o'clock Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're talking about I'm Mexican American. Well, Irexican, technically. So my grandmother was from Ireland, so I'm mostly Mexican, Irish, but I was born and raised here in the States, and my husband is from the border, and so a lot of crossing over back and forth, a lot of cultural mingling here in where I grew up in South Texas. And I'll tell you what, it's not just an issue in Mexican American culture. We had someone, they didn't want to hop on the air because I can be weird, I'm just teasing. We had someone call in and they just wanted to share. Mirna said that this practice is not just Mexican. It's all over Latin America. Even Italy has a version of this practice. Well, we know from our other caller. I mean, there's all kinds of witchcraft and evil garbage going on and all over the world. People have found ways to do evil things and get involved with the devil all over the world. That's certainly true. But from my experience and the way I grew up, some of these practices I'm watching, people that are close to me, people that I know and people that I love suffering from. I'm speaking specifically about my culture, but certainly it is prevalent everywhere. Witchcraft, superstition, all kinds of really, really ugly stuff. Divination, everything from astrology to palm reading and all kinds of, omens and predicting the future, psychic mediums, conjuring up the dead, all that kind of stuff, which we should absolutely reject at every turn and every way to every degree, is very, very, very bad news. But like I said, I'm Mexican American, so I'm speaking specifically to the practices in our culture that I want to condemn openly here on the air. I will say this though, we were talking about the evil eye, right, or ojo, and you'll see some people sporting a little bracelet that has an eye on it, like an eye jewelry, and it's become a big trend now. Doesn't the devil just love that, right? Now everyone's wearing these little evil eye bracelets to protect you against evil. To ward. Hey, girl, you ever tried a crucifix on for size? Why don't you wear one of those, or a Saint Michael the Archangel medal? I mean, for crying out loud, we have to put evil. We put our faith in this. If it worked, you know. Like if it worked, if something was, something was insidious and you're thinking that you're going to block it with a bracelet. I mean, the demons don't care about a bracelet, but if you put something that has their, that they own, right? That's something that they can access you with on your body, on your person, you're supposed to be at this temple of the Holy Spirit. Well, congratulations. You've just opened the door. And that's what we want to avoid doing. We want to stay close to the sacraments. We want to be in sacramental communion. That's a state of grace all the time, right? Ideally, as much as humanly possible. We want to avoid sin. We want to reject Satan, all his works, and we want to receive communion often. We want to go to confession often. We don't need a dumb, trendy bracelet to ward off evil. That's not how it works. And so, in doing some research for this show today, which I planned on covering like 57 other things in this hour, which I have not been able to do. So maybe we'll do a part 2 on Thursday, huh? Listen in on Thursday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern to get the whole rest of the story, because there's so much more I want to cover. But, in doing research for today's show, I have found out some pretty sad realities about people that grew up in Mexican American culture like I did, and that they were subjected to some of these practices, which are really, really bad. They're doors, right? They're doors. And so, I've got a close friend who, I got 2 close friends that have shared with me that their parents believed, right, that something had happened to them and that they needed to crack an egg under their bed to ward off these evil spirits, or to quote unquote cure them, right, of this curse. And it's incredible, that their parents who are supposed to be taking on the faith for their child, right? Bringing them up, instructing them in right reason, and instructing them in the ways of truth, right? And the way that teaching them that Jesus is the way and the truth and the life. And the parents have this immense responsibility, right? Responsible, like Pope John Paul II was always teaching, love and responsibility. They go hand in hand. You can't say, well, I love my kids so much, I feed them Skittles for breakfast every day. They have whatever they want. No, there comes a tremendous responsibility with being a parent, right? And so part of the responsibility of being a good Catholic parent is having a properly formed conscience. That means finding out what the faith teaches and studying yourself, because this whole I didn't know that lady on the radio said we shouldn't be putting eggs under the bed, but she said it's so evil, but I didn't know. Girl, you have an iPhone in your back pocket right now? Then you should know. Okay? It's your responsibility. It's not the priest. It's not father's job to go over to your house and check if there's an egg under your toddler's bed. It's your job. It's your job as a father to protect your family. And so when you find out that, when I'm finding out that people close to me had these encounters, right, where people were putting faith in a cure with an egg under a bed, and then they find out later and they say, okay, gosh, my parents exposed me to this stuff. What can I do about it now? I mean, this door was opened, whether I opened it or I couldn't have opened it myself, right? I was 2, but this door was opened. What do I do now? Well, I'm glad you asked. You need to let a priest know. You need to let a priest know. Not me. Don't call me. I can't help you. I'm not praying over you. You need a priest to pray over you, to pray with you, and perhaps to do. I know it sounds so scary. Don't shake in your boots is that the expression? Don't shake in your boots when I say this to you. You might need a minor exorcism. Obviously confession is the what breaks the shackles of sin. But if someone opened the door without you knowing about it, you need someone to pray over you. And a good friend of mine shared with me that when he found out about this egg practice that had been done to him, he went to a priest. The priest prayed over him, and it's quite incredible. The priest told my friend that something was released from him. And my friend experienced a vision of an angel breaking a chain that was on him. Now, I don't know about you, but if there's a chain around me that I don't know about, because the people that I've been entrusted to have failed to protect me, have failed to keep those doors of evil closed. And that chain is perhaps causing some sort of issue in my life I don't even know about because I was just a kid when it happened. It could be depression. It could be anxiety. It could be, self-pity, like all these different things, right? All these things that are weighing on us. Like we want it lifted. We want it broken. It's very sad that this even has to be a discussion. But we should know and we should have faith that God does want to heal us. And it's not the end. If we've been exposed to these things, these evil, insidious things, it's not the end. God wants to heal us. God wants to redeem us. And let me tell you, he wants to break those chains. He doesn't want you to be bound by evil, whether you let it in or someone else did unknowingly when you were too young to do anything for yourself. Jesus is the only one. Jesus is the only one. The most holy Trinity is the one we should have all our faith in. There are no other gods or other powers. He is the one, and he is God is the only one that we should entrust our prayers and petitions, the only one we should be offering anything up to. God doesn't make deals with us like, hey, you do this for me, I'm going to do this for you. He loves us, he watches over us, and he protects us, and he is faithful in his promises. He doesn't use us. That is the way of the evil one. On Thursday, I'm going to be going over part 2 of this show, which is all about everything from Santa Muerte to calling on palm readers and different candles you have prepared to bring you luck and love. Tune in, don't miss it, on Thursday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm your new Monday and Thursday host, Sarah Soto. I'm a Catholic wife, mom, speaker, and evangelist. For more information or to contact me or ask any questions about the show, to follow up, or to have any recommendations, visit my website at sarahsotospeaks.com. That's SarahSoto speaks.com. God bless you.